Welcome, Michael Blunt, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Michael. Oh, I just realized that we're both Michael.
I've been knew that. I've been knew that before we even got on. I was like, oh, it's always great to meet another Michael in the world.
Yeah, I love that.
When I had the option to name my son, I was like, should I name him Michael? I was like, there's too many Michaels in the world, and plus I'm going to be so great. He's going to have to try to stand up to that name.
There
And I
could
was,
there could be never enough Michaels. Well, because you came up with Raven concept.
uh-huh.
So that's what I was just kind of going by, and it never came up with your name. It never said Michael until right now. And I'm like, wait, you're Michael as well. I was just calling you
Yes.
Raven Concepts.
Well, Reven Concepts is the brand, it's the company, it's basically what I stand behind all the time, stand in front of, whatever you want to consider it. And the work you do is definitely in line with helping businesses grow. You are an executive energy coach, and we love your energy already. I know we're going to have a great conversation today. In your own words, tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help them.
Yes. So my name is Michael A. Blunt, and I'm an executive energy coach and founder of Energy Mastery School. And I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business owners to help them make the necessary mindset shifts that keep them stuck and at a certain level of success, and helping them to transition into 10x levels of accelerated growth and breakthroughs. And so for me, my journey began in 2016 when I hit a breaking point as a marketing executive and dealing with anxiety and depression. I felt that moment, those feelings and those emotions and that time period was so intense that it put me in a hospital. I was suffering from, stress hives. I had TMJ, which is where I had to buy a mouth guard I played football, so I used a mouth guard before, but I never used a mouth guard to manage stress because I was chewing down my jaws. And so I did that. And eventually that led me to, breaking out of that and figuring out tips, tools, techniques to really, go into my next transition, which was to live a purpose-filled life. So, I help people with that, and I help people, just, really make or aim for breakthrough goals.
Okay, well, let's focus our conversation. I'll let you pick. We can either go into the aspect of helping people grow their business 10x, or we can help them understand that their life doesn't have to be full of stress, anxiety, and we can find fulfillment and purpose. Which one do you want to go down?
Let's blend both of them because
We're
I
not
can
going to
do.
split it. We're going to pick one. We're picking one, choose.
Okay, well then let's pick the 10x, and then I'm going to throw in how
Okay.
you can avoid
All
stress.
right. Trying to beat the system over here, but no problem. All right. So the first is the fallacy of 10x, right? Why not 20x?
For me, 10x, it's like you can think 2x, right? So 2x to me is conventional thinking, and that's conventional ways of success. And that's, hey, making steady progress over time. You can make 100x and say, okay, yeah, over the next 100 years, this is kind of where I want to be. Or you could say 50, or you could say 40. 10 just seemed reasonable to me. It seemed like something that was still in reach for me. I'm always pushing for impossible goals and to get there a lot faster than, you currently can. And I know that the brain switches off after a certain period. Like, okay, that's just never going to happen. When your brain switches off, that's never going to happen. And then you stop generating the instructions to take the actions to actually create that. 10x seems just out of reach, but still in reach enough where you can pull it from the future and you can start working on that now in the present. So I use 10x for everything. And then from there, it's just a number system, achieving 10x goals in 1 year and then doing that in a 21-day program. So it's like kind of like this whole thing, this whole formula that I have.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's going to be the correlation of the conscious and the subconscious mind, where we can say we're going to make $1 million this year, but then your subconscious mind will be like, no, you're not, buddy. All right.
Yeah.
Because the gap is just too far, because you might be working at McDonald's making $34,000 a year. Can you change it? Yes, you can change it, but we do have to develop the systems first. How do you help people develop the systems to reach that goal of 10x?
So I have an easy framework, and it's called the C3 method. And the C3 method, the three C's are clarity, confidence, and consistency. And the C3 method was basically devised as a roadmap, and it's to help people go from where you are to where you want to be. The first step in going anywhere where you want to be is having a vision and having clarity of where you want to go. So we spend that time deprogramming, removing all the traumas, removing all the limiting beliefs. And once you can do that, once you can look out the window and you no longer have to look out the window with mud in it, you can see the entire scope because you've cleaned the entire window. But if you're looking at the window, out the window, and it's extremely dirty, it just rained, there's mud on it, and you kind of have to like squint outside, then you don't really have the clarity that you need to have. So we need to deprogram that, decode it, and wash it. So we move that away. So that was step one. The next step is confidence. And the way that people build confidence is by completing things, progressing in some type of way. That could even mean, making up your bed. And that can mean, sending off a task on Microsoft Outlook or doing something, with a client and or just naming Reven concepts as the business, that builds your confidence after a while. So that's the next step that you need to take. Clarity, confidence, and lastly is consistency. Consistency comes with manifestation. For me, manifestation is a science. It's turning mental thoughts into physical reality. So if you can consistently do that, then you can consistently have the lifestyle that you want and create the lifestyle that you desire. So that's how I work with my students and my clients on, moving them from point A to exactly where they want to be.
It's very akin to mindset work because you're taking them to that step-by-step process. It's the staircase is not, all right, we're going to just jump to the top. We have to get there step by step. And the last part, consistency, is so important. Many people, they love to start. They love to have the idea. They want the good things in life. We can think about the money, the fame, the glory, whatever you want to consider, whatever their purpose is, their goal is. Consistency is often what stops them from keep on going or to keep on going. How do you help people who might be down this road? They have maybe spent a couple years building a business, building themselves up, especially these executives in businesses where it's just like, I've built something, I want to make it better, but it feels like I hit a plateau. How do you help people be consistent through that?
Well, we can look at it one of two ways, and let's look at it both ways. The first way to look at it is philosophically. If I told you, Michael, that on the 200th time of you doing these podcasts or you doing something with your business, that it was going to take off and it was going to make you a multi-billionaire, would it matter if you failed or didn't succeed at the 100th time, the 150th, or 199th? Not at all. So people, and I would say the majority of people, they have this imaginary, they haven't had this imaginary number in their mind. And they keep working towards something and they stop right before they get to 200. And I tell people with consistency, you can get to 200. It doesn't matter how many times you fail before. It doesn't matter how many no's you get. The destination is a yes, but the journey to get there is going to be a filled with all no's. So expect the no, embrace the no in everything that you want to do, but know that you're eventually going to get to the yes. So that's my philosophical answer. My technical answer is, again, another technique that I apply for Energy Mastery School, which is my students. And I call this the BTFA reprogramming formula. And this takes you out of the old self-image, the old way of thinking, feeling, and acting, and it pushes you into a future state of operating from only those decisions that you would make 10, 20 years from now. B equals belief. The T is thoughts, feelings, actions. Your beliefs equal your thoughts, feelings, actions, BTFA. And we use this as a training protocol. It's a mix actually between neuro-linguistic programming and cognitive-based therapy. And I've mixed those together to really focus at the belief level, because in Energy Mastery School, we believe not in fixing the symptoms, but going to the root of the problem, which is your beliefs. If you can change at the belief level, it changes everything outside of that. So those are kind of like the two ways that I approach it. First, through the philosophy, and then we apply the technique.
That's actually really smart because the brain needs that. If we don't attack it on all levels, it's going to find a little loophole is going to say, oh, but you know what? Like that 199 just doesn't feel good. Maybe I'll just procrastinate and I'll just say I get to 200, but it doesn't work that way, people. We have to go through that. It's like failure are the stepping stones to finally reach the top, and we have to get there. Many people don't like failure. It doesn't feel good. I don't know many people in the world that enjoy failure, like truly enjoy it, like, oh, like they seek it. Most people seek success, but there's a reason why 1 to 5% succeed wildly in the world. It's because of that. It's because of that small shift in mindset. It's a mindset skill. How can you start to look at failure as something that is not so bad? We have been conditioned from an early age. Think of when you were back in school, you get a bad grade. Oh, I got to feel bad. Your parents might make you feel bad. You feel dumb. You don't feel smart. You're a failure. Do you find that the coaches or the executives that you're working with have that mentality of failure is what I should avoid?
Most people that I work with start off with the belief system of perfectionism. And it's because the point of where they got gave them external validation to everyone else around them. They were extremely competent and they never made mistakes. They easily covered their tracks without showing the vulnerability of how they actually got there. The formula that I use is failure plus action equals wisdom. You can't have the action without the failure, and you can't have the failure without the action. But when you have those both together, then that's going to give you the wisdom. The wisdom is going to give you the success. And I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say there's two entrepreneurs. There's entrepreneur one who doesn't want to embrace failure. This entrepreneur is waiting for the right moment, waiting, analysis paralysis. They're asking a bunch of people, questions because they want to get it just right. So it takes them a month to make, let's say, 4 different decisions. And they made a decision once per week. Let's just say that for the glory of the story. So it took them a month to make 4 decisions. Entrepreneur number 2 makes all of those decisions in 4 days. So now entrepreneur 2 has a head start. They've gone through the limiting belief of like, oh, what if I fail? What if I do this? And they've just done it. So now they have a 26-day, let's just say it's 30 days in a month, 26-day head start. So now they're completely accelerated past the first entrepreneur. They've gone through the pain and the mistakes and the hardship. They can learn that in the next 26 days because they're going to learn, hey, the decision that I made, was that a good one or not? Now they can make another 4 decisions. So now they're already more ahead because the other entrepreneur is now 2 months behind, where this entrepreneur is still in the first month making all of these decisions. So by the time the second entrepreneur gets to the end of the month, they're years ahead of the first entrepreneur. This is about people embracing the failure as a catalyst to their success. And the difference between people who embrace it and the people who are hesitant to embrace it because they haven't learned the formula that you got to take the action comes with the failure is going to give you the wisdom is going to be your success.
Well, let's make it even more simple for the audience. Should people seek perfection or should people seek failure?
People should seek progress. There's no such thing for me as perfection, because nothing's ever perfect. If things were ever, the thing that I like to tell people is, you're never going to get it right. You're never going to get there. You're never going to get it right. So why keep trying to make it perfect? Are you playing an infinite game or are you playing a finite game? Because if you're playing a finite game, somebody's got to lose. Somebody's going to be right or wrong. You're going to win or lose. And there's a person who's going to fail and the other person is going to win. If you're playing a finite game, then it's always going to be a steady progress. You're never going to quite get there, but you're always going to be there. A good example of that would be, if you're playing a finite game, I won $1 million. If you're playing an infinite game, I'm wealthy. If you're playing a finite game, I got married. If you're playing an infinite game, I've been married for 40 years. If you're playing a finite game, I became an overnight success. If you're playing an infinite game, I've been successful for the entirety of my career. So you got to ask yourself, what game am I playing? Because if you're playing a finite game, and then you're in the bucket of failure. But if you're playing an infinite game, then you're always progressing.
That's a great way to put it, because progress is going to be the many key for many people, similar to consistency, as we talked about earlier. We do have to get into the aspect of the energy that we exude, the mindset that we have. Think of it in the sense of scarcity and abundance. You alluded to it, but you didn't necessarily say those words. And those are very common words. They're very common words for people to say, I understand what abundance means, and I know what scarcity means. They know what growth minded means. They know what fixed minded means. When we look at trying to, elevate ourselves to that progress, right? Making progress each and every day, we are going to have that mindset of abundance, right? We're growing, we're building. When we have that finite, it's very similar to scarcity, right? I'm trying to beat someone. I'm trying to get to that $1 million mark. When someone is in that scarcity mindset, is there a way to shift them in abundance mindset?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that we have to remember when we're switching mindsets is not necessarily what we're thinking and we're feeling and how we're acting, but what is our overall belief system? So if we come back at the belief level, if you believe that this person winning means that I lose, then you're always going to be in some type of scarcity mindset. But if you truly believe that this person wins and I can still win, if not more, then you'll always believe in an abundance mindset. So the first thing that we do is we switch not at the mindset, but really at the belief level. We go to the belief level and we figure out what exactly did you learn growing up. And we reframe that from money doesn't grow in trees and money is hard to come by to money is everywhere. And money is a filter and a tool to, facilitate the things that you actually want. And then we take it a step further and say, hey, is it really money that you want? Or is it freedom that you want? Because if you can get the same thing, the same cars, the same house, the same material things, if you can still buy the same lifestyle, whatever it is that you want to facilitate with money, if you didn't need the money, would the money still be important to you? And 10 times out of 10, the answer is no. So we get down to the root of what people are really asking for. And then once we get down to the provenance of what people are really asking for, then that automatically cures and reprograms them to switch from a scarcity to an abundance mindset.
I look back at episode 300 of the podcast. I had my brother on. I said this to him. This is something that has been.
I said, you remember numbers, episode 300, episode 195.
well, you got to understand that, I'm finalizing all the episodes. So the editor will get this, and then the editor will do what they do, and then I finalize the episode. So when I schedule everything and everything is there, I say, okay, now I know what episode number or the ballpark. I can actually tell you from early on, episode probably in the 20s when I had I think episode 16 was when I had my first guest or something like that. So like from there, it's just like I remember the guests, and then some guests are so meaningful or like memorable, and then some are just kind of like, yeah, that was a good conversation, but it's almost like you'll forget them by the waysides because they don't truly make an impact. So episode 300, I had my brother on. We do have the impact of family there, but then we also had a great conversation, him and I. He's very wise. He does a lot of practices and meditation. Like if you think of Buddhism, think of him, even though he is not a Buddhist, but it's just that mentality. And during the conversation, I brought up a Kanye West quote when he was doing a rap. He says, not having money is everything. Not having money is everything. Like, so people think I have all this money. They don't care about the money. The people who have all this money, I'm sure you probably deal with it. These top level executives who have an abundance of money, they have no fulfillment. They have worked so much. They have sacrificed their family. They have sacrificed their health. They have sacrificed so much to get money, and they found that money wasn't it. And so money is only everything to people who don't have it. when we get into that logic that money is not the goal or should not be the goal, what should be the goal?
That's a beautiful setup. And I love the layup here because it brings me to a framework that we use in Energy Mastery School. What we start doing at the very beginning of Energy Mastery School is first day, we define what your purpose is in life. And then right immediately after that, we're able to reframe how you view success. And for success for most people equals freedom in some type of way. In some type of way equals freedom. With freedom, there are 4 different components of freedom. There's time freedom, there's money freedom, there's relationship freedom, and then there's purpose freedom. The relationship freedom is like, okay, am I in the right circles? Am I networking with the right people? Do I know the right people? The freedom to be able to go into circles, the presidential circles, the political circles, the celebrity circles, your natural circles. Money is exactly what we talked about. That's pretty self-explanatory. Time freedom is getting your time back. And purpose is being able to live your core values and to express that to the world in a way that's authentic to you. So when you look at those 4 different buckets, most people are winning in one area in life, but losing in every other area of life. And so we tell them like, yeah, you've got 25% of it right. What about the other 75%? What about the other 3 buckets? And that's what we work on in Energy Mastery School, is fulfilling those buckets. But the problem is, before we even get there, a lot of people aren't aware. That's the clarity. Where am I going? Once you see, hey, this is where I'm going. I want to go into time freedom. I want to go into money freedom. I want to go into relationship freedom. I want to go into purpose freedom. Then you can confidently start taking the next step and consistently seeing wins on that path to success.
That's a great way to put it. I find that when people try to give themselves their purpose or to find some type of meaning or fill out those buckets, they often have a difficult time becoming clear on what they truly want. The reason why, they have so much junk in their mind, garbage, if you want to call it that. Think of, watching TV. How many commercials happen between the program that you're on, or if you're doing a streaming service, they probably have ads too somewhere on the screen. We are influenced by so many different things, right? And even the shows we watch, right? So someone has a really nice car, someone has a phone. We give ourselves that standard, that set point. Though that set point is what society tells you need, it might not be what you truly want, yet we are coerced to believe that. We need the Lamborghini. We need the Ferraris. We need the mansion. We need the 5-bedroom, 3-house yacht. That's what we need. Otherwise, we're not successful. Otherwise, we're not happy. What is that mindset? What is that logic that the world is giving us this pinpoint, yet that's not what truly life is?
I think that's the world regurgitating what they learned, and what they learned regurgitating what they learned. And so it becomes this, for lack of a better word, generational curse. We've seen this in ethnicities, we've seen this in religions, we've seen this in money issues. There's a lot of different types of generational curses that happen, and a lot of them are just mindsets that get passed down from one generation to the other. So I mentioned the first thing that we do at Energy Mastery School is we understand your purpose. And then we move into reframing your version of success. Once you can reframe your version of success, then that gives you the agency, that gives you the power, that gives you the autonomy, the empowerment, the energy to be able to create from your purpose that seeps into your success. And now you've now become a deliberate creator. You now are able to live life on your own terms. You've now breaking the shackles and breaking the generational curses of what you should do, who you should marry, how much you should get paid, where you should be living, how you should look, what you should say. All those things, you can erase should from the vocabulary and just be.
It's also, we have to look at parents, right? Parents are going to be raising these generations, these new generations coming up. However, I did some research, did some, I guess you could say, soul searching of what's really going on. We think of, children growing up into this school, right? About 40 to some cases, 60%, depending on city demographic, people in broken households growing up, children in broken households. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's just a single parent. It can mean that there could be drugs, abuse that creates a broken household because it's not going to create a healthy environment for that child to grow and nurture into. What happens is we look at that parents are taking almost a passive approach because they have their own worries. They have their own problems to worry about. And this can even be akin to looking at the executives on the highest level. They have their own business. They have their own issues that they have to take care of. They can't fight the world. So what typically tends to happen to these high achievers, and I mean, I work with them, they'll get a nanny, they'll get someone else to take care of their kids, take care of their house. And so they can focus on what they truly love, right? Their purpose, maybe, but it might be causing them a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, whatever you want to call it. But then that child is growing up resenting that executive, that father, the mother, whoever, because they weren't present for them. So the generations that are growing up into these high achievers, these people who put career first, they're saying that maybe I shouldn't go after a career. Maybe I shouldn't go after that type of accolade of being a business owner or having this type of success because all I truly wanted was my mom or my dad to tell me that they loved me. When we get into that mindset of executive level, they are those high achievers. They're 10Xing, right? They're looking at the progress. Sometimes, as we said early on, and this is going to probably be our last point, they sacrifice their health, they sacrifice their family. And then the kids are left to be taught by nannies, by grandparents, maybe by the system. Is that helpful?
Depends on what you want. And depends on who you're asking. Are you asking the kid or are you asking the parent?
Right.
So from the kid's perspective, I think you've already hit the nail on the coffin that no, it's not helpful. From the executive's perspective, it is. Now, the real question is, well, how do we merge those together? So they're both in lockstep together, and there's alignment and synergy between both of them. I do this a lot in my work because the work isn't actually about business. It's about the personal growth and development that you need to do in order to see the results and create what you want in your life. If you want to grow and scale your business, most people will say, okay, well, I'll hustle and grind, I'll network, and I'll do the things. In Energy Mastery School, or at least from what I teach, I say, no, you have to increase your level of self-worth. If I'm charging you $100 for a product, that's what I believe that I'm worth. But there's going to be another person who's charging you $1,000 for that product. And there's going to be somebody else who's charging 10,000 and so on and so forth. It's at the level of your self-worth, so on and so forth. For if I wanted to expand my business and have a bigger team, a team that was loyal to me, well, I have to know my purpose and my core values. If I don't define my purpose and my core values, who's going to follow me? And then the last thing I would say is, if I wanted my business to be, stable against any market conditions, and then I would need to be anti-fragile. So there's a personal development, reprogramming, and growth that needs to happen in order for you to create the lifestyle that you want. Now, how does that relate to child and parent being in lockstep? Well, when the parent is doing the work to create the synergy between what they want, that's the clarity that we talked about in the first step of the C3 method. Well, once you get clear on what you want, then you can say, hey, the money is great, but there was 3 other components to that, right? There was time, there was purpose, and there was relationship. Purpose, relationship, and time matter just as much. It matters as much to me, my relationships, because I want to have a relationship with my child. So now what you can start doing is merging the core values in each one of those. And now you can start merging with the needs and the unmet needs of the child. That automatically gives you a competitive advantage because now you can say, I have it all. But you can't say I have it all if you only see one thing. If I only see one thing, I only see money equals freedom. If I see it all, I say money plus time plus relationships plus purpose equals freedom. So I still have more work to do. That's how you can get alignment between the two. And the last part from that, when you conclude it, is like, okay, well, I can't do it all. I want it all, but I can't do it all. So then we teach the concept and overlay on the personal growth is how do you achieve more by doing less work? And that's where you have to really focus on the quality of what you want and what you're doing versus the quantity of what you've been doing, which is all the distractions and the busy work and being busy just to be busy. I hope that explained it, but there's different layers to that because now we're getting into parenting and we're getting into mindset, but they're all synergistic and they all come together.
And the nuance here, what we do here in Coaching a Session is there is no wrong answer. You can give any answer you want, any answer you feel, and it's going to definitely resonate with many people I know. As we begin to wrap up, we are running out of time. I would love to get some final words and then for you to tell the audience where they can find you.
My final words to the audience would be to stop waiting. Stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for the right time, for the right resources, the right amount of money, and just do. 1,000 miles in one direction is going to be way better and a lot faster than going no miles in no direction. So stop waiting and just do. And then from there, all of the steps will show in front of you. You can find me at Michael A. Blunt on Instagram, YouTube, and also my website. And this is where I regularly share tips on how to reprogram your beliefs and accelerate, not just get to your next level, but accelerate the timeline from 10 years to 1 year to 21 days. And I'm also offering a free one-on-one session to help highlight the goals in your business for anybody who wants to book. And we can help you audit your business and audit your life so that you can figure out what the gaps are and how we can help you to get to your next level. The last thing I would like to say is, Michael, I would love to gift you. I would love to gift you free access to Energy Mastery School. And you can be part of the program if that's what you choose. But this is our gift from you to the team. And thank you for having us on your show.
Perfect. And I will definitely take you up on that offer. I love to learn. I love to grow as a person. That's what mindset is. I understand I am not an island. I have to look at people and I have to look at the community and how we can grow together. And I'm looking forward to people reaching out to you, Michael, checking out your work and then beginning to change your life, take the progress. And remember, the destination is yes. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. Great conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.